We drove 2 hours to Thomas Jefferson's home that he called Monticello, which means Little Mountain. We took a shuttle to the top and toured the basement before we met our guide. There weren't many houses back then with indoor privies, but Thomas Jefferson figured out how to make them with a makeshift sewer. Of course, enslaved people would have to clean it every once in a while. In the tunnel, the servants would manage the food and wine. The kitchen was also below the house, as well as the beds for the slaves that managed the house. Jefferson spent much of his life designing and building Monticello, and it shows. Inside the house, Jefferson had a waiting room set up for his many visitors. He had items from the great Lewis and Clark expedition of the many animals and Native American tribes the expedition encountered. Plus, he made cool clocks that showed the days of the week by weights on the wall. There were many rooms in the house, but my favorite was his bedroom. It was a small bed, some personal paintings, and a clock made out of 2 obelisks. Afterward, we ate lunch at a place called Michi's Tavern that was really good southern food that Jefferson himself loved. The best part about the tavern was that everyone was dressed up from 1784 and that the tavern was preserved to look just like it was from colonial times.
We headed to George Washington's house on Mount Vernon. We had to rush through the museum to make our tour time of his mansion on the Potomac. There were so many rooms, but we quickly went through the house with the hundreds of other sightseers. It is such a beautiful property, and he had the most amazing view of the river. It is a very relaxing place. We saw all of his parlors and bedrooms. We toured his kitchen and then looked at his stables before we took a look at our first president's grave. His tomb only holds 25 people, unlike the graveyard of the enslaved of Mount Vernon, which possibly is the final resting place of 150 people. Being in that space was like a live version of the Remembrance Waterfall in the African American Museum. There were a few names and a few markers, but it was a very special place.